Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. It's promptly 11:30 Eastern Time. We're going to go ahead and get started on our topic here very shortly. Welcome to the 2022 webinars. I know Rachel had a couple last week. This is my first one for the new year. Good to be back at it. Before we get started, a few technical things. Click the little red arrow on the sidebar of your webinar control panel. Allows you to get, minimize that control panel, get it out of the way so you can see the full visual effect of the presentation, or drag it off to your second desktop if you've got a dual monitor set up or more. Again, get it out of the way. We are recording today's webinar event. I have to start by saying this is a redo from fall of 2021. We did this same topic last November, I think, or December. We were unable to get a good recording of the webinar, and therefore we're hoping that we're going to be able to get a good one to put out on our support, our resource center page here in lieu of that. So if you attended the one from last year, I apologize. You're just getting the same information again, but hopefully we will have this out on the website here within the next, well, maybe even by the end of the day today. So we're here until 11:50 Eastern Time. I will do my best to keep it within the 20 minutes. If you have questions, please type those into the questions portion of the webinar control panel. I will do my best to keep an eye on those and answer those, if not during the event, but at the end of it, of course. If you have time, please stick around. We'll get those questions answered. Please keep the questions on topic, meaning about our change account number structure topic. There may be another webinar event that's better equipped to answer your questions, or of course, call our support techs. We're here and available and happy to help if you have questions. Okay, so excuse me, let's go into accounting. So we're going to launch accounting. We're here to talk about changing account number structure, okay? It's taken from the A102 workbook. I apologize, folks, I recognize this, but the workbooks are always kind of under changes and constructions. We had put A102, I think, page 33 out there, but it's actually pages A102, pages 26, 23, and 24. But pursuant to that, frankly, this topic, this is a really important feature in Church Windows, and we've requested that our workbook person spend some more time, a little more effort and time filling out this section more. This is a really important function in Church Windows accounting for folks who need it. So we're going to hopefully expand this topic in the workbooks, but we're going to talk about those details of what this screen does here right now, so you got to get a better idea of what it does, okay? So what we're talking about here is when we go into accounting, we'll go up to special functions. We've got this option right up here at the very top that says change account number structure, right here. And frankly, folks, I think that's kind of not misleading per se, but I don't think it paints the whole story. The reason being is, like there are in many places in Church Windows, this screen doesn't do just one thing. It does multiple things, okay? So that's why I think it's important that we really try to, get this really dealt with a lot more detail in the workbooks, and why we're doing the webinar today on this. So first and foremost, this window that we're going to look at here is basically making, you're essentially saying, I want to make a large change to my accounting database, whether it's changing a lot of accounts, whether it's changing the definition, the number of digits and placeholders we have in our accounts. It doesn't matter. It's a bold change to the database, and so you're advised to back up your data beforehand. Okay, so that would be the first thing is, when you're even considering this kind of a change to your database, close out of accounting, go to administration, make a backup, okay? I don't care who you are, whether you're on the cloud or local install, you want to be able to have an undo, because once this is done, there is no undo other than to restore a backup of your accounting database, okay? So first bit of advice, make a backup of accounting before you use this feature. So when we go into change account number structure, it opens up the renumber chart of accounts window with a warning screen that says, an exclusive access screen, that you're basically, you have exclusive access to editing accounts. No one else can make changes to accounts while you're in this window, okay? So we click OK on that window. So, as I said, multiple things. So this screen really fundamentally allows us to do three things here, okay? And the first one, and this is the one that's kind of the most obvious, is, we see account number before renumbering right here on the left, and then account number after renumbering on the right. So essentially, if what you want to do is just come in here and you want to change the account numbers for a number of accounts in your chart of accounts, you can just go right down the list here and make changes to your chart of accounts, literally just by going down the list and clicking in that account number after renumbering and simply changing the account numbers. Okay? Now, you can use this to change one account. You can use it to change a dozen. You can change all of them, okay, in this window if you wish. Now, if I'm only going to be making a change to maybe one or two accounts, maybe this isn't the window that I might go to. There are other places and ways we can change account numbers without coming into the renumber chart of accounts. But like I said, this is typically the window that we would come to when we're wanting to make a change to a lot of accounts, okay? We cannot change account names here. So we notice here I can click in the account number after renumbering and change those accounts. Can't change the account number before renumbering, and I can't change the account name. So if I wanted to change my account names, I would have to go elsewhere in the accounting module to be able to change the name of my accounts, notably my chart of accounts and my setup chart of accounts pages, okay, or the tree view, okay. So this is just literally for changing account numbers, okay. So that's first and foremost. So once, when we're going to talk about this here momentarily, but until we click Save here in the upper right corner here, the changes that I make are not saved. So if I simply change the number and cancel, my changes are not saved, okay? We're not going to save those just yet because we're going to talk about the other things that we want to do here, okay, or can do here. Right here, and this is the one in the upper right corner, is the one that really I think is where folks kind of are really unaware that this is where this occurs, is this button in the upper right corner that says Change Structure. So what that means is, in our account numbers, we have 6 digits. 1, 2 numbers, 3 numbers. Okay, so 6 digits with 3 placeholders after the first and third digits. Okay. Well, if I want to change that, or the number of digits that I have in my chart in my accounts, I have to go to Change Structure. So when we click on that, it says, okay, here's my current structure, and what do I want the new structure to be? So if, say, I wanted to add a third digit there in the middle, I would just simply put my cursor there, hit Shift and my hashtag icon, and it now adds in an additional digit in the middle there. I can basically change them any way I want, okay? And then simply once I click OK, notice now in my account number after renumbering, it has simply added a trailing digit to my account numbers, all of them. Can't have different numbers of digits in our account numbers in Church Windows Accounting. All the account numbers have the same number of digits, okay? So just a word of warning about this is it's easier to lengthen account numbers than it is to shorten them, okay? So, if anything, when I talk with somebody on my support calls about setting up their chart of accounts, I say, start with a, digit or 2 less than what you might normally want. I mean, okay, that's maybe not true. It's just that I always recommend that when you put in too many account numbers, it just becomes really cumbersome and hard to search and find accounts and organize those. At least that's my belief, okay? So I like to point out that when I've got even with a 6-digit account number structure like the one we have without changing them, okay, the first digit is always the account number, account type we're working with, assets starting with 1, 2's liabilities, 3's funds, etc., okay? I have potentially up to 99,999 possible accounts in every account type. That's a lot of accounts, folks, okay? So even if I were to go with 1 digit less, I would still have 9,999 potential account numbers in every account type, okay? So start, because it's easier to add on rather than take away, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute, is because if I start out with too many account numbers, too many digits, and then I try to shorten them, so let's say I want to go back and change it from my my 6-digit account number structure down to, say, 5, now notice what happens to my accounts. Now I begin to have conflicts because many folks will use that last final digit on their account numbers to identify that specific account or that range of accounts, kind of not paying much attention to what occurs with those groupings before then. Okay, so what I'm really showing you here is it becomes a real challenge to change account numbers and shorten the numbers than it does to be able to lengthen them. Okay, and so what's important to understand about this, of course, and I think it probably goes without saying, is that it's not going to allow me to save my changes here until I deal with these conflicts. That's what the red is basically saying. There's conflicts here. We've got to deal with those. And so basically you would just click in there. You would edit the account number. When it's not in conflict anymore, you'll click off of it and it'll change it from, red back to white or sorry. So it's not letting me do it. 410, was I trying 31? Let's try that. Oh, that's not what I wanted. 31. There we go. So let me click off that, see if there. Nope, still a conflict. So see what I mean is that it really creates things, can really create some headaches and havoc for you when you're trying to reduce or shorten your account numbers. Can be dealt with, but you could have a lot of work to do in order to be able to get those things sorted out before it'll permit you to save that. Okay? So if you go, well, I'm not sure I like it, you can just click cancel and it'll just reset everything back to the default. Okay, so whatever we had come in here before we had made our changes. So let me just try changing my Huntington Bank checking account, and then I click save, and it then saves my account numbers. Now keep in mind, this is only changing my account numbers, folks, in 2022. This does not change my account numbers in any other accounting year. Okay, either only in future years moving 2022 and forward. Okay, past years chart of accounts are separate, and those chart of accounts will remain exactly what they were. Okay, at that time. So finally, the final thing about this kind of change account number, renumber chart of accounts, and change structure button is right back under our change structure button, where, and I'm going to point it out here with my highlighter here because it just allows you to see it more clearly, use account numbers. So while Church Windows accounting, it does not require that you use account numbers. Some of you may not be using account numbers, okay? But we strongly recommend it. Using account numbers simply allows you a greater level of reporting flexibility and allows you more control for how your accounts are organized and identified, okay? So account numbers we strongly encourage, but if you don't, or if you use them and you don't want to, this, after you set up your chart of accounts, this is where you would either enable or disable that, okay? So if I decided that we didn't want to use account numbers, I would simply come in here, uncheck that box, click OK, and save, and basically I'm saying I'm disabling my account numbers, okay? Or if you're not using them, you would come into this window, go to Change Structure, use account numbers, then you'll be required to enter an account number structure with the hashtags and the decimals to set your account definition, okay? Just keep in mind, it will require that you identify your chart of accounts in its entirety before you make any changes or before you can click Save here, okay? That's simple. Any conflicts, save is not going to be an option for you, okay? Let's see, something else came to mind here with regards to that. Let me look at my list here. So notice here, we can also resort how these are ordered here, folks. You see the little arrow on the side of my account number after renumbering. So if I click on that, it will allow me to reorder the order of the accounts. So it basically just inverts them. So it, flips them over, so it does them descending instead of ascending. So just an FYI, if it helps to reorganize those in, or you can, I think, click on account name and it'll sort them alphabetically within the list as well. Okay. So again, some flexibility for how that works. The final suggestion that I would recommend is that if you're considering making a broad change to your chart of accounts, okay, before you even consider coming into this window, it would be to go right up here to Reports and Export, Worksheets, list chart of accounts, okay? Maybe we're going to go to our detail tab and we're going to go down to accounts receivable here, I think, under liabilities. Where is accounts receivable? Is it accounts payable? I mean, we're going to uncheck that detail because we're not going to be changing those. But then we go back to our options. We're going to include accounts with zero balances and click print. And this will be your current chart of accounts. Okay? Folks, I've been doing this a long time. So what I recommend is if you're considering renumbering these, print this, then over here on the right-hand side to the right of the account name, or you can even invert the column order if you wish. We could put account name, let's leave account name, but let's put account number second. And then over here, now when we print, you've got account name first and account number, and then over here to the right, just jot down what account number you're wanting to change that to. And just do this for all of them. You know, if they don't change, then don't put any number there. Just you're saying I'm not changing that. But you'll print a few sheets of paper, but then once you have that, then you can examine and look and see if you've got any conflicts, anticipating those. Then close out and go up to special functions, change account number structure, and then make your changes. It'll just make it faster and easier and simpler. Again, having used this software, folks, for almost 20 years like I have, I kind of got some helpful hints and tips that I like to share with folks that might make their job and their life easier about that. So again, when you've made your desired changes in whatever fashion on this screen, you've got to click the Save button before those changes are saved. All right, let me take a quick look here. Okay, so 3 things in conclusion that we cover on this window. En masse changes to your account numbers. So if you've got a lot of account numbers you want to change, this is the fastest, easiest, and best place to do it. It's also under Change Account Number Structure, where you would either change the definitions, the number of digits and placeholders in your account numbers, and 2, either enable or disable use of account numbers. Okay? So this is the 3 things that this window primarily does for you. Okay, so again, a lot of power here. Okay, so that is where we are going to leave today's topic.